So about 4 years ago, I made a video about the quality of audio coming from streaming services. I will link it over here so you can check it out. But I don't think that video is up to date anymore. I think a lot of things have changed and I want to check that today. So let's get started. Alright, so let's take a look at our testing setup. So for the song, I'm using a song called Funk Heaven, produced by Adore. I will link to his socials down below. Adore, I'm actually not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, is one of my clients. So I mixed and mastered this song and I do have the final master in wave, lossless wave format. Now the reason why I picked this song is because first of all, there's a lot of complex things going on in the song, which is great for testing. And another reason is because we've delivered this song as a streaming optimized version. Streaming optimized version basically means that there's a bit more dynamic range. I do have several videos explaining that. I'll link one of them over here. Having a song with a bit more dynamic range can be a bit more taxing on the codecs used by the streaming services. So that is why it's really interesting. Now the best way to test this is by having all the audio files in my digital audio workstation, which I'm using Reaper, and the way to get these files is by recording them. So I've just spent my whole day recording the same song over and over again on different settings from different platforms. Now I'm not recording the signal by like recording an analog line out or something. I'm using the loopback on my RME ADI2 converter, which basically just digitally sends back the signal that I'm feeding into it. Now, in order to verify that this loopback configuration, in fact, is correct, I have recorded the original file through the loopback back into Reaper in order to see if that works. And we can, of course, do an A/B listen test, but the best way to check the differences between two audio files is by doing a null test. And in Reaper, we can do that by pressing the polarity button, which is this small button over here. And what that basically does is it inverts the audio signal. So if on one file audio signal goes up and the other file it goes down, and the sum of that, in theory, if the files are the same, would be 0, would be silence. So if I now press play and we hear nothing at all, this means that my loopback configuration is correct. I'm now playing back the audio and I've got no output at all, not even on my converter. It says minus infinite decibels, so that's enough, I think. And just so you know, let yourself be free. We are really listening to the loopback. One more detail is that I'm running my interface on 44.1 kilohertz 24 bits. For this test, this is important because we have delivered our audio file to the streaming services on 44.1 kilohertz. Some streaming services do accept higher sample rates, but quite honestly, for playback, so I'm not talking processing or studio or whatever, but for playback, I think that 44.1 kilohertz 24-bit audio is the best you can get. I don't think there is a lot of improvement above that. For processing, it's a different story. Again, processing is different. Now, as you can see here, I have audio files for all the different streaming platforms that I want to test, and also per platform in different settings. And in order to do a null test correctly, you want to have your files to sync. And the way that I've did this in Reaper is by using a group. And in the group, we can see both of the audio files laid on top of each other. So on top of here, we can exactly see if we are sync or not. And if we take, for instance, the loopback, we can see we only see one line. And if I now move this, you can see that it's not in sync anymore. Now I want to start with what I think is the most popular streaming service, Spotify. And for Spotify, I've recorded two files. The free file, so that's the free subscription with manually setting the quality to high. And I've recorded Spotify Premium with the quality setting to very high. Now, what I think is cool to do is to listen to the differences first. So let's compare Spotify free with the original master.
free. With your hope and your strength, you could pave the way. As the light in the dark tonight.
That's difficult, isn't it? That's why I want to do a null test as well. Also, because what you are listening is also coming through a streaming service, YouTube, which will be the last one I'll take a look at. So what I've noticed on this file is that it's a bit restless in the high frequencies. And you can hear this when we are doing a null test. So nulled, it sounds like this. You can clearly hear that the spectrum where the vocal is in, and things like the clap and clarity, those are the things that are gone. Now the weird question, of course, is like, why is there so much gone when doing a null test? And why isn't there so much gone when listening to it on an A/B setting? And this is because the codec that they are using is made in such a way that our brain fills in the gaps. And this is really great because we can do this as humans. But I also always think and feel, and it's actually something that I've experienced, that if our brain needs to fill in those gaps, it will cost us more energy. It will cost us just we'll get easier tired of the music that we're listening to. And that's exactly not what we want, because listening to music is, if you ask me, something to enjoy, something to relax, that kind of stuff. If we listen to Spotify Premium on the very high setting, we will notice the same thing. That there's still a lot of information missing and that there's a lot of artifacts. You would almost think that it's the same file. And in fact, if we compare the free version and the premium version with each other, we got absolute cancellation. So if you set Spotify to very high quality or the free version of Spotify set on high quality, there is no audible difference. There's no scientific difference. And you can do these type of tests yourself, like comparing different settings and streaming services by recording them back into Reaper or a different DAW. You can do these yourself. So it's reproducible. But as far as I could measure with these settings, there is no difference. Now the next service is very interesting. It's Tidal. And Tidal has always been known for its high audio quality. So let's check that out. Let's start with Tidal Hi-Fi, which is the highest setting that this song came in. And the reason why it came in Hi-Fi and not in master quality is probably because of the sample rate. And again, I don't think high sample rates make a lot of difference in end products. Now, we can do an A/B test on this, but I can also quickly do a null test and reveal to you all that Tidal Hi-Fi is in fact lossless when it comes to 44.1 24-bit files. Now, one of the reasons to scale down on audio quality and scale down on the setting is, for instance, when you have less bandwidth. And Tidal has two settings for that. It has high and normal. And high is basically a balance between bandwidth and audio quality, and normal is basically, saving up on bandwidth. When you are on your mobile connection or something, this can be really handy. So let's listen to the difference between the original and Tidal on the high setting. So as you can hear, a little bit is removed in terms of details and in terms of high. Not a lot though. Let's compare this with Spotify on the highest setting. So let's swap our null test between the highest setting of Spotify and the high setting on Tidal. So the artifacts sound the same, but on Spotify it's way louder. So that means that there's more difference on the Spotify version. Now let's also listen to Tidal in this null test on the normal setting. So that's the lowest setting on Tidal. And we're losing a lot of information now. In fact, when it comes to those fine, high, fresh frequencies, cool word, Tidal is really suppressing them. Let's also listen to this. So compare the original with the Tidal on the lowest settings.
It's your time, you can dance, let yourself be free. With your hope and your strength, you could pave the way. As the light in the dark.
So for me, it sounds as if there's a little bit of a blanket over my speakers when I'm listening to the Tidal version. Again, I don't know how it comes across. I don't know how your monitoring system is or whatever, but that's one of the things that I hear. And again, there are gaps in the audio that your brain tries to fill in and that I also probably am filling in. Now the next one is one of the services that scored pretty low in my older video, but does now support lossless audio. So let's check if the lossless audio from Apple Music is in fact lossless by doing the null test again. It is. We've got silence and we've got minus infinite decibels, which means nothing is coming out. Now Apple Music also has lower settings for like when you don't have the bandwidth or whatever. So one of the settings is checking the box with lossless and adding high quality. So it's lossless, but it's in high quality, but not lossless. It's kind of weird. And I wanted to check if this is in fact lossless or not. And probably what they mean is audible lossless, because it's not lossless. Listen to this setting. So this is the lossless high quality setting, lossless but not lossless setting, because this is not lossless. There's a difference between both files. Now, is this difference bigger or smaller than the difference between Spotify? Well, there's only one way to find out. Spotify in the highest settings and Apple Music on the high quality lossless setting, which is not really lossless. And as we can hear, there is a little bit more attenuation on the high frequencies in Apple Music. Like the level is a bit higher on that. But the global attenuation, the global amount of bits missing is, as far as we can hear in this test, and there are way more tests than this one, but as far as we can hear in this test, lower quality goes to Spotify, if you ask me. Now, Apple Music also has a non-lossless setting, where you can disable the lossless setting, and then you get the standard quality, or however you want to call it. Here is a null test between the original master and the standard quality on Apple Music. What is interesting here is the difference between the standard quality and the high quality lossless from Apple Music, because the high quality lossless almost seems that it loses more information in the top end. Now let's compare these three files. So let's listen to the standard version, switch to original, and then to the lossless version. Let's see if we can hear a difference as well.
It's your time, you can dance, let yourself be free. With your hope and your strength, you could pave the way. As the light in the dark, tell me, won't you stay?
So for me, it almost feels like The standard quality Apple Music is mixed differently. The claps are less clear. It even feels as if the vocal is in my center image is placed in a different way. Or I'm going crazy. That's also one of the possibilities. Let's also do this with the high quality lossless version.
It's your time, you can dance, let yourself be free. With your hope and your strength, you could pave the way. As the light in the dark, tell me, won't you stay? Stay, stay, stay. Run, you watch, you're in shock. This is not your place.
Again, minor difference. Really feels that there are some changes in the mix. Although the null test says that the high quality lossless loses more high frequency information, I feel and I hear that the standard quality is actually the lowest quality on Apple Music. And again, I think this has to do with the fact that my brain and our brains are filling in the differences. Now, next up is a streaming service that I didn't check last time. It's Deezer. And Deezer has 3 settings. Free or normal quality, whatever, which is 128 kilobit per second. I think kilobit. Anyway, it's 128. There's a better setting, which is 320. And there's a lossless setting. Now, the first thing we of course want to check is if the lossless version is indeed lossless or not. And again, we have no signal at all, meaning that high fidelity setting on Deezer means lossless, at least for 44.1 kilohertz source files. Now let's move on to the better setting, the 320 kbps setting. When doing a null test, it sounds like this. Which is really minimal. It's almost a bit percussive, like it's only taking back some information on the louder sounds, like the clap, like everything that peaks out. Whereas the free setting the free setting loses a lot more information. Now let's also do a listen test, of course, because I also, want to check if I can hear the difference as well.
It's your time, you can dance, let yourself be free. With your hope and your strength, you could pave the way. As the light in the dark, tell me, won't you stay?
Has a little bit more.
Stay, stay,
A little bit more definition.
Run, you watch, you
Tiny bit.
This is not your place. Place. Funk heaven. Ooh, heaven is.
But again, very well done. Like there's not a huge difference between the files. It's not that I'm all of a sudden surprised at how bad it sounds. Basically with none of these.
It's your time, you can dance, let yourself be free. With your hope and your strength, you could pave the way. As the light in the dark, tell me, won't you stay? Stay, stay, stay.
Now what you can hear, if you listen very, 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 very carefully on the better setting, you will hear that dynamic thing that I was just saying. But it's like, it's almost a psychoacoustic thing because I know it's there. So it could also be that I'm not hearing it, that I just imagine that I'm hearing it or something. It's all very good. Now, Qobuz is a bit of a weird one because I've recorded 3 different files, a high-res CD quality and an MP3 quality. But the weird thing is, if you listen to a null test between these two, they are the same. And the same goes with MP3 quality. And I've tried a lot of things. I've deleted the cache, I've rebooted the system, that kind of stuff. And it just stayed in the high res setting, or like the same setting, which is, if we compare this to the original one, the lossless setting. Because again, we have no output, so that means that the files are exactly the same. Now the last streaming service that I want to compare is YouTube. Not necessarily because YouTube is kind of a big music platform, but also because this video is published on YouTube. So it's nice to know if YouTube actually is a good platform to put music on. It's a great platform for other reasons, but is it also good when it comes to audio quality? And surprise, surprise, here's a null test of YouTube. YouTube is not lossless. So was this whole video a waste of time? Well, actually not. That's one of the reasons why I'm putting these null tests in the video as well. Also, I do think that when doing an A/B test, even through a degraded platform, it still comes across because it's degradation upon degradation. So conclusion, Tidal, Apple Music, Deezer and Qobuz do have real lossless streaming. Spotify, however, doesn't. And I found that to be a bit weird. So I googled that, and what I saw is that Spotify is actually working on a service called Spotify Hi-Fi, which should include lossless streaming and should basically end this whole discussion of wanting to be able to listen to lossless audio, lossless music, that kind of stuff. However, at least in Holland, it's not available yet. And they are constantly delaying it. And I've decided that I'm not going to wait until Spotify is going to come with Spotify Hi-Fi, because this could take years. Or it could be tomorrow. But at the moment that I'm recording this video, it's not available. It's not out yet. It's not there yet. However, they do have announced it. And I actually think that for Spotify, it's a lot of work to upscale all their data centers and that kind of stuff, because Spotify has the biggest client base. As far as I know, actually. Everybody that I know uses Spotify. So what is the best streaming service? Well, I don't know, because audio quality is only one factor. For me, it's really important, but another factor is that it just has to work. And for that reason, I've been using Apple Music for years already. I am fully in the Apple ecosystem. I have no problem admitting it. I have an iPhone, iPad, I have an Apple TV at home. I've got AirPlay devices. I even have CarPlay in my car. So Apple Music just has the best integration. And it also has lossless audio. So it's all perfect for me. But it doesn't mean it's perfect for you. You could have different preferences and therefore choosing a different service. But now at least you know how the different services sound. And with that being said, I want to end this video. So for the disclosure, I'm not in contact with Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, Deezer and YouTube. Although YouTube, I think I can send a message with the amount of subscribers I have. I don't actually know. I am in contact with Qobuz. Qobuz gave me access to their platform. What basically happened is they emailed me asking me if I wanted to become an affiliate. I said no, but I want to do a test. Can you give me access to your platform? I bought a subscription to Spotify, Tidal and Deezer in order to get these files, and I am a YouTube premium subscriber. So everything that I'm saying is my own independent opinion, and the cool thing about this test is that it's pretty easily reproducible, so you can check it out yourself as well. And I would love to see your results, so if you do this, let me know that, and also leave a comment down below with your thoughts. And if you appreciate the independence of my channel, make sure to support me, and supporting me is possible by using my affiliate links. I will put Toman over here as a QR code. It's also in the description down below, of course, and Sweetwater over here also in the description down below. And if you want to buy something in one of these shops and use my link, a little bit gets kicked back to me without it costing anything extra for you. Now, another way to support me is by pledging a bit to my Patreon campaign, which I'm going to link over here. And on Patreon, you get early extra videos, answers to your questions, and some other good stuff. So check it out, it's all on Patreon over here. Now, the last way to support me and the YouTube platform is by watching more videos, just staying on the platform. That's what they really want. So I'll link one of my videos over here, but there will be other videos around this video as well. So make sure to check it out. Thanks a lot for watching, keep pushing, and bye-bye.